I think we've been conditioned that all stress is bad,
Hmm.
and it isn't. I mean, chronic stress over a long period of time, but things like this, in terms of any way you're stepping outside of your comfort zone and you're having to adapt, that is good. It's
Hmm.
good for the brain, it's good for the body, it's good for the spirit.
Welcome to Elevated Life, Real Wellness and Transformation Podcast, where we walk alongside the internally driven individual as they transform their life through wellness, movement, mindset, and personal responsibility. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's jump in.
We're still working on figuring out the best setup for. Is your mic good?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
on. I just wanted to check.
So we're back at the table
We are.
today. Probably going to be for a little while,
Yeah.
I would think. Who knows?
It may be forever.
Yeah,
I mean, it works.
everything is very fluid, and that's kind of on topic for what we want to talk about today. But first, do we want to give any updates?
Yeah, go
It's
for
been
it.
a few days.
What do you want to update?
Well, you've started your job now.
Yes,
So how is
I
that?
have. It's good. It definitely, way to go. This is like perfect segue into, I'm going to be looking off to the side because this is actually where Clint is sitting. Um, adjusting,
Hmm.
adjusting. It's great, but, um, and I'm grateful for this story that I'm about ready to tell. When I went to my second training yesterday, my manager was like, "Oh, you came back. It was so crazy the first day that you worked." And, they just tossed me in, and it was very overwhelming.
Hmm.
And halfway through my shift, I thought, I'm not sure if I want to do this. Like, super uncomfortable. So uncomfortable, not knowing anyone, not knowing the systems, knowing
Hmm.
nothing. And then literally just like, oh, we're so busy that you have to just
Just
figure this
go for it.
out.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. And so anyway, yesterday with my second training, when he was like, "Oh, you came back," and I told him, I said halfway through the first shift, I was like, maybe this is not for me. But it was so much more chill yesterday, and I felt like I got a better grasp on the systems, which was helpful.
Good.
Yeah.
I just realized we're kind of matching today.
Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I like it.
So what are we talking about today? What's this?
Well,
What's this
yeah.
topic?
So that gets into the broader topic of stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah. And you hear this all the time, and you hear it a lot from people who do step outside their comfort zone, but also from like people from the stands. Oh,
Hmm.
step outside your comfort zone while I sit in my same spot
Hmm.
or whatever. Because the level of uncomfortable it is to step out of the comfort zone is almost unbearable. Like, there are moments, it's almost like when you're putting together this new, or you're cleaning out a closet, and halfway through you're like, I can't do this anymore.
Hmm.
That's kind of what it is.
Hmm.
Like, it's so uncomfortable. And I think that for adults, it's even more uncomfortable and even more necessary based on what it does to the brain, you know?
Yeah, I suppose that's an interesting statement that it is for adults, and I guess it's probably because um, we have, the longer you live, obviously, the more you get set in your ways, I
Mm-hmm.
guess,
Yeah.
and so then it becomes more difficult to find a new way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about um, some of the not super sciencey or anything, but some of the brain functions, some of the things that go on in your brain when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and some stories to go along with that.
Yeah. I wanted to know what was happening to my brain
Hmm.
because after that first shift, I was so mentally exhausted. I knew that I was building new neurological pathways, but I didn't know, like, the scientific
Mhm.
words for it. So when you do new things that you have never done before that are really uncomfortable, and we've talked about this in the health and fitness space, right? Like going to the gym, that's stepping out of your comfort zone. And you have those moments where, why am I here? This translates to absolutely everything.
Mhm. Yeah. It was, as we were, talking about it and going over notes and everything. it, and this seems so obvious once I thought of it, one of those things, but the the comfort zone is really just a bunch of habits.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't think of like, you know let's say just driving from your house to work
Mm-hmm.
or to the store or whatever. Those things that everybody knows. You don't have to think about when you've lived in a place for a long time, you're going to the same spot, you're taking the same trip, the same roads and everything. And you don't think about it,
Right.
but that's a habit,
Yeah.
just like any other habit you have. And so, I think maybe for me, just generally speaking, before we get into more of the science and stuff, thinking about it like when you step outside of your comfort zone, especially if you move or if you do something, you have a forced new job or something major.
Mm-hmm.
um, it's almost like, I mean, we voluntarily moved,
Yeah.
but it's like almost like an involuntary breaking of a habit.
Yeah.
It's not like, okay, I want to build this habit, or I want to quit eating so much sugar. So
Right.
now I'm gonna, slow down a little bit and eat less, and kind of have this controlled, movement,
Sure.
either building to a habit or going away from it. And this is just like, nope.
Yeah. You're jumping
You
in.
have no choice with your habit anymore because it's gone.
Yeah. And you brought up the driving. So, I remember just driving from the house to the studio in Tenasket. Sometimes I'd be like, how did I even get here?
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're just so in your brain, you actually have that pathway that's very well carved.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, like a hiking trail that's been very well established. So, when you're having to drive to new places or be really aware of just where you're driving, you're actually creating new neurological pathways in your brain. So, your brain is firing more rapidly.
Yeah. Neuroplasticity
Yes.
is the
Yeah, that's what it is. So you're creating more neuroplasticity, which is so good. Also, and there's been studies with this with Alzheimer's. Like one of the ways that you can ward that off is doing new things all the time, right? Because it's causing your brain to fire.
It's been interesting for me with with this forced stepping outside of our comfort zone. You really realize, I think, it kind of goes to how you were feeling with a new job, but then this all of a sudden becomes literally every detail of our lives
Yeah.
is new.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we get gas? When we walk in, where is the store? When we walk in, where is the stuff? What stuff is even here?
Yeah. Because it's different with every store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just been, I don't think that at least for me, I didn't realize the mental strain or the mental toll of, completely stepping outside of your comfort zone in everything that you're doing. And how it's it's a constant thing. And having those, it's not like, okay, I started a new job, but I live in the house I've lived in for 20 years,
Right.
and I'm still in the same community. I'm still going to the same gas station or grocery store or whatever. This is just like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's very, very overwhelming at times, but then really exciting too.
Yeah, it is. And it's, it really forces you to come into the present moment. Like you want to talk about living in the present moment all of the time. I think the only habit that we have developed that we could say is automatic is our walk to the beach every morning.
Yes.
Like that. And it's still what? Oh, we're 7 days. We're 1 week here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just
a week ago we were panic packing
Yes, we
right
were.
now.
You're right.
Well, I guess we're on our way to the airport by now, but anyway.
So yeah, that's been the only thing. I mean, every other thing has just been basically this lighting up of the brain, and it's been exhausting, like I said earlier, and super uncomfortable. And it really has given me a fresh perspective because I've done this before in my life. I've restarted at new locations, many times. But this time seems more, um, I don't want to say daunting because it's not daunting. It's just more. It's just more.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely have felt overwhelmed at times. And what I was saying is that I really sympathize or empathize with the person who stays in their comfort zone. I do. But I just want to say that it's literally terrible for your brain.
Yeah.
that's really it's hard. It's hard to
Mm-hmm.
step out and be the new person. It's hard to step out and be the person that doesn't know how to do something, especially when you're 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
Because you already have that, oh, I should know. I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see a million reels of, oh, just step out and do something new. It's so fun and it's so great. And yeah, it is, but it's like brushing your hair backwards. It's uncomfortable.
Hey friends, if you're getting something out of this, connect with us on our social media platforms. We're at CJ Elevated Life _ on Instagram and TikTok, and CJ Elevated Life on Facebook and X. We're answering DMs, sharing daily content, and building community with people ready for real transformation. For now, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We drop 2 new episodes every week. And if this episode resonates, share it. That's how we reach more people who are ready for change. You can also find everything at cjelevatedlife.com. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
As when you were talking, it kind of triggered some thoughts that I've had over the last week of just personally how I'm feeling here and the feeling of it being overwhelming. Because, I've moved many times in my life, but most of those have been with the military
Mm-hmm.
and moving on base. And, military bases are, at least Air Force, I was in the Air Force. Air Force bases are pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
They all have the same gas station, they're BXs on military bases, which is, like the department store
Mm-hmm.
and the commissary, the grocery store. And then, so they're all, you can just kind of get dropped on a base and be able to figure out pretty quick where to go.
Right.
And, and then obviously, having a job, you naturally, okay, you're getting thrown right in with people, which is great. And then, when I got out of the military, moved back to Tenasket, which obviously I knew where everything was there. So this is like the first time in my adult life that I'm moving to a place where I didn't really know where anything is, know zero people. Like it's really been pretty cool, actually.
Has it?
Yeah, it has. And maybe we can get into this more, maybe not, but we've talked about it on other podcasts, how it's such an opportunity to, if you've done the work, so to speak, and you're developing I don't want to say a new self because I don't think it's new, but
Renewed.
there we go, perfect,
Yeah.
great. It's such a great opportunity to just jump into it, and I think that's been the most uncomfortable for me. That's been stepping outside of that comfort zone of I'm the person that I don't talk to people.
Right.
I look at 2 feet in front of where I'm walking and hope nobody says anything to me. And that's just not how
That's
it
not
is.
here.
That is
I mean,
not.
everyone wants to talk and be friendly and, yeah,
And
like,
it's something that I wanted to do, but just felt like, again, because of the habits and my brain was so wired where we were that that's just what I do. you just fall back into that habit.
Sure. It's like, no, I'm the quiet, stare at the ground guy.
Mm-hmm.
You label yourself as that person. And then when you intentionally decide, no, I'm not going to speak that over myself anymore. I'm going to be someone new. I'm going to step out and meet
Mm-hmm.
new people and do new things. Just like any other time you're starting a habit, at first you're just like, this is awkward. This is uncomfortable. And then again, you're developing the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty soon Clint's going to be on the side of the road, like waving to everyone in his Santa.
Throwing chakas.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Do you want to get into a little more
Yeah, why
for
don't
people
you?
that maybe are more interested in what's actually going on in your
Yeah.
brain when you're stepping outside? There's a few parts of your brain that really start firing and are responsible for this stuff. First part is the hippocampus,
Mhm.
which probably a lot of people have heard of because it's a silly kind of a word.
Yeah.
But what does it really do?
Yeah.
We're talking that's the learning and the memory, just the whole, like when you're on autopilot,
Mhm.
essentially. Your hippocampus is what's running that, I guess,
Yeah.
or in charge of that. And so, when you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and we've talked a lot, obviously, about our move and us, but this is anything. This is,
Yeah.
big stuff, like completely uprooting your life and changing it down to, I'm going to take a different way to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to try a different grocery store if you live in a place with multiple grocery stores.
Yeah.
Or, go to a different restaurant or any of those. It all does the same thing.
Totally. Or I'm going to talk to someone in line at the grocery store. I'm going to
Yeah.
start real small and just be like, hi, how are you today?
Mhm.
Right? Like new pathways being created all the
Yeah.
time.
So that's what your hippocampus is doing.
Okay.
Another part is your prefrontal cortex,
Mm-hmm.
which is, man, my glasses are blurry. It's the decision-making
Yeah.
part. So, working together, like your prefrontal cortex is like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can talk to this person
Right.
next to us. And then your hippocampus is remembering, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we can do that. We have that ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, okay, let's go for it. And so, those two parts of your brain are working together. And again, the more you're stepping outside your comfort zone, the more those things are working together. And not that they turn off if you're not stepping outside of your comfort zone, but I would compare it to like people who maybe don't exercise a lot and they're like, well, I move for my job, or I do certain things that require some sort of movement. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
But that's not resistance training.
Right.
It's so your day-to-day life when you're doing stuff, your prefrontal cortex, your hippocampus, those things are working, but you're not getting them a workout,
Right.
so to speak.
Yeah. Good information.
Yeah.
Keep going, sir. You're on fire right now.
All right. Let me keep going. Full disclosure, these are all written down.
Yeah.
I'm going off in notes.
Yeah. We've already explained what has happened to our brains. So we
Yeah.
definitely are noting it up because we don't want to give you, false information about what's happening to your brain.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying, probably, but I'm going to say it anyway. Stepping outside your comfort zone is stressful. So
for sure,
you're gonna have
fight or flight.
You really are.
Yeah.
Yep. And so then it becomes the process of managing that.
Yeah.
A little bit of stress is good. A lot of stress is like,
that's okay. Hey, this is a live podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
we never know what's going to happen.
No.
The rooster's in the background. Yeah. I'll probably have geckos running around behind me at
maybe
some
another
point.
Cockroach.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah, that's just how it is.
And grabbed a freaking gecko.
Oh, see? All the new things. See?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your hippocampus is just lighting up during that time.
Yeah. Prefrontal cortex,
yeah.
decision making.
Right?
Oh, I can't.
Oh, it's funny.
So anyway, the stress of
But it's a good stress.
Yeah, and I was going to
Yeah.
say it's just like any other stress.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think we've been conditioned that all stress is bad,
mhm,
and it isn't. I mean, chronic stress over a long period of time, but things like this, in terms of any way you're stepping outside of your comfort zone and you're having to adapt, that is good. It's
mhm,
good for the brain, it's good for the body, it's good for the spirit. I
yeah,
mean, it's good for all the things. It's just we're so
mhm,
to any of it, especially this.
mhm, yeah. The chemicals, just for people who maybe are curious or haven't done a lot of research on stress,
I remember reading these and being like, I don't know what that word is.
adrenaline,
I know what that is.
norepinephrine,
That one. I was
and
like, norepinephrine.
and dopamine.
Yeah.
So, you know, those are the things. And those are great because in managed and in the right doses, they're increasing your focus,
Yeah.
increasing your memory, increasing your word motivation.
Yeah.
But it does, you know, and
Yeah.
it brings it makes learning easier. It makes things more clear
Yeah.
to a point.
Sure.
And then obviously, you know, then you're going to have to deal with the stress however you do. We got lots of podcasts about all kinds of different ways to deal with stress.
And this naturally builds confidence
Mhm.
in not just the area that you're stepping out into, whatever that is. It builds confidence can be built across the board,
Mhm.
right? And so that's the benefit of doing the hard thing,
Mhm.
right? Like, I did this, I learned this.
Hey, quick pause. If this episode is hitting you and you're ready for real tools, here's what we built.
Head on over to cjelevatedlife.com, pick up the Rebuilt Method for Men or
Whoa.
the Rebuilt Method for Women, just $67 each. We also created the Parasite Detox Blueprint at $37. And this is actually the exact protocol we use ourselves.
And while you're there, sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the weekly action steps and new tools we've tested ourselves. Let's get back to the episode.
Yesterday when Clint and I were chatting, you know, he's like, how you doing? How you doing with your job? You know, and I'm just like running through all the systems in my head since my first training. And we're having this whole conversation. And as we're walking inside, I'm like, you know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about for the time where we look back on this conversation and we laugh
Mhm.
because everything is just so easy and my job is a piece of cake. And the funny part about my job is teenagers do it. Teenagers run the Surf Shack hut, right? Like when I was interviewed, the bosses of the company were like, you are so overqualified for this. Why are you applying? And I was like, well, I'm actually not. I've never done this before. And I want to do something new and fun and chill. And, you know, when I'm in the interview, I'm, you know, articulate and just nailing the interview, honestly. And then I get in the shack and they start teaching me, and I'm like, turtle, turtle, turtle. Like, all the confidence went right out the door. And I was like, I feel like I'm 12 learning a new job.
Mhm.
But again, you know, as you read through all of these things of what it was doing to my brain, what it's continuing to do to my brain, this is a good thing. Not just the brain, but the confidence in general.
Yeah. Yeah. The timeline that is generally understood. This, in my mind, this helps me think about confidence, I
Mhm.
guess. Action leads to experience, leads to evidence, leads to confidence.
Yeah.
Because it's so, I know personally, and I know I'm speaking to a lot of you, having maybe everybody, most everybody having the same thoughts at some level is, okay, I got to get confident in that before I do it.
Mm.
I have to learn about it. I have to feel good about myself about it. And it's just not possible.
No.
It's just not the way it works.
It isn't. And that's where you actually stop before you don't even take action.
Mhm.
Right? Because you're waiting to know all the things, you know, after studying or osmosis or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so it just stops you from doing basically anything. It's interesting because, we talk all the time about if you don't know how to work out at the gym, hire a trainer, the importance of hiring a trainer, all the things. Well, Clint and I, our goal is to surf while we're here. And, obviously we're going to hire someone to do that. And turns out I work for a business that does that. And so we've decided to do basically the biggest package that they offer, which is a 3-day surf kind of experience where you have 3 90-minute sessions with a trainer, right? Um, and when I was talking to my manager about it yesterday, because he's like, "Oh, Johnna, we'll just toss you in with a random group and you can go out with them." And anyway, when I was talking to him, he's like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And I said, "Here's the deal. Like, number one, I'm totally into investing in myself, especially if it's something that I really want to learn. I have not surfed since I was 26. I know that I am not 26 anymore. And I learn best through repetition. And so if I could have 3 90-minute sessions in the same surf spot, know exactly where to paddle out in the lineup, all the things for several hours. I mean, how many hours is that? That's a lot of
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5 hours broken up into 3 sessions. Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing that, right? Because we want to invest in a thing. What is it? Not a habit, like a like you'd invest in if you want to learn how to paddleboard, or you want to invest. You don't want to just I don't know, half-ass it.
Sure.
I'm not into half-assing it. Like, this is something that I'm passionate about. I want to do it. So that's what we're doing. And he was like, "Okay, all right. If that's what you want to do." I'm like, "Yes, it is." And I would encourage you guys, if there's something that you want to learn, find a freaking pro. And maybe that just happens with age. Maybe not. I don't know. Where you're like, "No, I don't feel like paddling out in a lineup where I don't know where the break is. I don't know where the channel is. I'm just going to rent a board and go willy-nilly it." I'm not into that. I'm at the age where I'm like, "No, I want to hire a professional that's going to teach me the right way, the right etiquette, and then, we can move on and be successful after that."
Yeah. So I think the the important takeaway that I'm hearing as it relates to what we're talking about here is, yes, you're doing it, or I mean, we're doing it. I'm doing it too. But stepping outside your comfort zone doesn't mean you have to do it on your own.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a balance of, you got to go for it. At some point, you got to rip the Band-Aid off, and you just have to do it. But you can have guidance. You can have help.
Mentors. This is why people
Yeah,
hire mentors too,
absolutely.
right?
So don't feel like you have to just jump right in on your own, figuring something out.
Right. There are professionals out there. I mean, obviously, if you're starting a new job like I just did, no, that's all on you. But if it's something like training or learning how to surf or learning how to do pottery, whatever that is, it's helpful to ask for help. And that's another thing I think that can be difficult for people, right? Because that just a lot of people like to pretend like they know everything about everything, right? So that just shows that maybe you're ignorant in an area. I'm totally ignorant in, surfing here. I just am. And so I need to hire someone to help me, and you.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So
Super
anyway,
excited. It's important to remember, as you're, working through, talking to the listeners, working through stepping outside of your comfort zone, big or small, it doesn't matter. I know something that I've done to myself a lot in the past when I've done these kinds of things is minimizing the outcome, so to speak. Meaning, like, let's take the example of, I'm going to talk to somebody at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And then you do. That's okay to celebrate that.
Oh, yeah.
Value that and appreciate. It might seem so insignificant to other people, and you might even think, I'm a fucking adult. I'm a human. I should be able to talk to other people.
Right.
Do I really need to celebrate that? Like, am I
Yeah.
some sort of a hero now because, I talked to the person standing next to me in line, and, maybe not a hero, but you did survive that.
Yeah.
And it was something, it kind of reminds me of, it's not exactly the same, but a story, and basically the gist of it is, every person's worst experience is their worst experience. You might have had something way worse, but that doesn't minimize their worst experience.
Right.
And so it's the same type of thing. We're all stepping outside of different comfort zones.
Yep.
And so when you do that, it, no matter how big or small, it does take some courage.
Yes.
It takes courage to step outside of it. And the courage, just like the courage comes, you're not going to, how am I trying to say this? The courage is the feeling of uncertainty and doing it anyway, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to alleviate the nerves or
No.
the fear or the stress or anything with whatever you're stepping outside of. The courage is, oh fuck,
Too bad.
I'm doing it.
Yep.
Because
Too bad.
this is what I want to do.
Yep.
And then we'll figure it out and see what happens.
And that is where the discomfort lives.
Mhm.
It is in that, like
Mhm.
that. Well, too bad. I'm doing it anyway. Just like when I sign us up for our sessions and we get our time slots, it's like, no, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Or showing up to work, like, no, I'm doing this. And it's hard. I have this self-talk that says, no, too bad you're doing it. Too bad. Too bad. And I almost switch my brain to a different place. I don't know where that place is.
Mhm.
Where it's just like, nope, we're doing this. We might look like an ass. And if you're doing something new, guess what? You're going to look like an ass. And we've said this before with going to the gym.
Mhm.
Everyone's had a first day at the gym. Everyone's had a first day in the water. Everyone's had a first day at work. Like, you're not special.
Right.
Right. But in that moment of trying to pull that courage, you feel special.
Yeah.
Like you're the only person that has ever walked through that, for sure. And you're not. People have been doing this forever.
Mhm.
So if you can remind yourself of that, and I'm speaking to myself right now as well, if you can remind yourself of that, it just kind of eases that uncomfortable emotion
Mhm.
that pops up that says, flee, run into the distance.
I will say that, and I'm trying to formulate exactly how to say this, but that feeling, because I guess I'll just speak again from my personal experience when I've tried to step outside of my comfort zone, and I kind of already talked about it a little bit just a minute ago, but I know I would feel like an asshole. Basically, I would talk down to myself when I had that fear. Like, this is so stupid. Why I must be broken. There's something wrong with me.
Yeah.
Because why am I scared to pick up the phone and call my bank? Like, this doesn't make this is so irrational.
Right.
There's something wrong with me.
Sure.
But there isn't.
No.
And
you just have different ones than
Yeah.
other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, because I think that's another thing that prevents you potentially from stepping outside your comfort zone.
For sure.
Is I'm so inadequate. I'm like a lesser human than most people, because I see a million people doing this and it scares me to death.
Right.
And,
it's funny you say that, because the cool thing about having a partner that, you can talk to things about, Clint and I have talked about this. We are totally different in our, I don't want to say fears, but things like that.
Our comfort zones.
Yeah. They're totally different.
Yeah.
And so some of the things that freak me out, Clint's just like, what are you Are you kidding?
Uh-huh.
And then, and vice versa.
for
It's
sure.
like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But it's cool to have like a cheerleader in the corner going, no, you can do this.
Yeah.
You can walk into your work, Johnna.
Uh,
You can do that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's funny. It's so true. Yesterday, when I went to my second day of training, Clint's like, well, do you want me to walk you? And I'm like, well, if you want to. And he's like, do you want me to walk you? I'm like, yeah, I do. It's just funny, but
Mhm.
that was difficult for me.
Yeah.
And it's helpful to have a support because, mind you, I'm walking somewhere where I don't know where it's at yet
Mhm.
completely, right? I don't even know. We just figured out this morning how to drive there.
Yeah.
Well, so and Clint's more directionally sound.
Mhm.
I am not that way. So I thought, I'm going to take off and I'm going to get lost and then I'm going to be late and then, and then, the 14-year-olds can show up, but the 50-year-old can. Yeah. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Just start small.
Yep.
Start small. Or if you want to just rip the Band-Aid off, then rip the Band-Aid off. But definitely do things outside of your comfort zone for your brain health
Mm-hmm.
and for building confidence. I would say those are the two biggest things that, you're going to see that impact right away is the building of the confidence and building new neurological pathways in your brain. Neuroplasticity is what the scientists want to call it. So anyway, thanks for listening. I hope this was helpful.
We'll talk to you soon.